Wagwan people, you don't know it's your boy Kamani Brown, and today we're going to be speaking about more tips and tricks of using your iPhone and the camera, especially the iPhone 14 Pro series. Now, here's the thing. With this new series of iPhone, which at this point in time is the latest version, the main camera has been upgraded to a 48 megapixel lens. The older ones and the lower models all come with the standard 12 megapixel camera lens. Now, this is not really known by the average user, and most just straight up don't care. But there is definitely an advantage to having a larger sensor on your camera. The larger the sensor, the more light and the more detail for your images. However, just like money, the more of it you have, the more problems you have to solve. So, same with the 48 megapixel camera. The more detail in your images, the larger the file size, the less storage you have on your phone and even your iCloud storage. And the purpose of this video is not only to show you how to use and engage the 48 megapixel camera, but also to show you the benefits of these 48 megapixel pictures and how you can actually convert them from the Apple Pro Raw format, which is what these 48 megapixel pictures are saved in, to the HEIF standard compression format on the iPhone, which would pretty much retain most of the data and detail but take up significantly less space. And that's what you want, people. Now getting straight into it, how to engage the 48 megapixel mode on your camera. Now it is not set by default. By default it is set to the 12 megapixel format. So you simply go into settings, you look for the camera app, you press that, then you press format. I already have it engaged, but pretty much you toggle on Apple Pro Raw. Pro Raw resolution should be set to 48 megapixel. If you see it at 12 megapixel, you change it to 48 megapixel. Of course, it prompts and tells you the increase in file size. Now, that's pretty much it. You come out, you go to your camera app. Now, you'll simply see the word RAW in the top right hand corner of your camera app right there. When you see a line slashed right through it, that means that it is not engaged. So you simply press it to toggle it on, press it to toggle it off. Also of note, the Pro Raw 48 megapixel is only engaged in standard 1x shots. Once you go up to macro or night mode or 3x or even 2x, it bins it back down to 12 megapixel. So let's just do a test here to show you guys the benefits of how this thing works. Now let's grabbing a picture of my Beats Fit Pro here. That's it. Grabbed it in the standard 12 megapixel format. Now we're going to change it to the Pro Raw format for the 48 megapixel mode. Let's grab a snap of that. That's about it. So now I have two different images in two different formats. Now let's go into gallery, and here are the two pictures. And if you press the get info button right there, it's in the HEIF standard compression format, and as you can see, it is in the 12 megapixel format, and it only takes up 2.2 megabytes of storage. Now going back out and selecting the Pro Raw image, you press the get info button. As you can see, it says RAW instead of HEIF. It also tells you that it was taken with the 48 megapixel lens, significantly higher resolution, as you can see, 6048 by 8064, and a significantly higher file size at 71.7 megabytes. Crazy difference in storage, people. However, as I said, more megapixel, more problems. That's significantly more image data that you're capturing, which justifies a higher file size. Now just to show you guys the stark difference in detail you're seeing here. Now this is zooming in onto the 12 megapixel shot. As you can see here, these lines are jaggedy right there. Yes, you can make out some of the dirt and oils from my heavily used Beats Fit Pro. The texture, although visible on the matte, is a bit muddy, and this one gets a bit noisy and blotchy. Now to the average person, this is a good picture. The detail is good enough, hence why they set it to 12 megapixels by default. Now just to show you the difference now, this now is a 48 megapixel shot, right? Zooming in, look how clean that line is. A perfect line. Look at the dirt and oils. You're even seeing a bit of the reflectiveness of the oils right there inside of the Beats Fit Pro. Look how clean this is. You're even seeing more wear and tear on this thing. Look how clear the texture is on the mat. It's not muddy and blurry like the last one. You're even picking up more texture right there on the headphone. It's crazy, guys, crazy detail. This is beautiful. Significantly more data. And of course you can zoom in a hell of a lot more until it actually gets blurry. Look at that. On the 12 megapixel shot, this is how far you can zoom in. And that's about it. On the 48 megapixel we can go all the way in. Right? It's crazy, guys. So that's the purpose of the 48 megapixel. Significantly more data for more detailed shots, and of course because of that, a higher file size. Now to show you guys how you can take advantage of that 48 megapixel mode and use significantly less space by converting it from Apple Pro Raw to HEIF format. Now it's simple, it's a shortcut. So go into shortcuts. Here's a shortcut that I use. I'll leave a link to this very shortcut in the description below so you guys can have at it. But I had to install this shortcut. It's pretty simple. It holds your hand through the entire process in setting it up. You basically click a couple of buttons, it downloads it, and it pretty much just installs it right here in shortcuts. It's pretty straightforward, people. But all you simply do, go back into your gallery. Here's a 48 megapixel image. Then you press the share button. You scroll all the way down. There it is. To HEIF, you press that. It asks you if you want to delete the original image to save more space, because that's the objective of this shortcut, to save you space while retaining as much quality as possible. You could choose to keep it by pressing don't delete, or you could simply delete it. I'm going to press don't delete for the purpose of this video. And that's pretty much it, people. Now when you go back out, you notice there are 3 images. The original 12 megapixel shot, 3024 by 4032, 2.2 megabytes. The original 48 megapixel, 6048 by 8064 at 71.7 megabytes. As you guys can zoom in and see all the detail, all the glorious detail there once again. The clean lines and everything. And the newly converted HEIF format. Now as you can see, it retains most of that detail. See, the lines are still clean and clear. And look at the size, 5.3 megabytes. It is now in the HEIF format, the same resolution, 48 megapixels, aka 6048 by 8064. And look at that file size, guys. Do the math. I'm not going to do it right here on camera, but that is significantly tens of times smaller, and it retains most of that detail. As you can see, you can zoom in just as far. I challenge you to spot the difference between this and the 71.7 megabytes photograph. Look at that. Look at that detail, people. It's near identical. I cannot spot the difference, and I challenge you to do the same. This is the original 48 megapixel shot. I don't know, I don't see it. This is a 12 megapixel shot. Notice those jagged lines. And now with the newly converted one, it is just double the size of the 12 megapixel shot. It's amazing, people. So that's how you take full advantage of your iPhone 14 Pro if you invested in one. It's a very expensive investment. Use up all the features, step your game up for your social media shots or your personal projects, and save space while doing it. Have fun. You shouldn't be restricted by worrying about storage and all that crap when you have such an awesome feature on hand. So that's about it, people. Thanks for tuning in once again. You don't know, I'll appreciate a like, subscribe, and of course hitting that little notification bell so you know when the next video is out. See you guys in the next one. Peace out and take care.